frequent viewers on this channel have probably become very accustomed to two specific locations, one of them being this corner and one of them being a wall of a more tannish color with a red couch. And I apologize, that's pretty dang boring. One of my renovation projects that I want to start working on pretty soon has to do with putting some stuff in backgrounds of places, maybe related to some of the interests of this channel, which could be a lot of different things, gives us a lot of options, but I mean, right now, we got the blank wall, and who knows when I'll get around to those renovation projects. I tend to shove those aside and just forget about them, because you guys don't really seem to care that it's just an empty corner, so we'll just roll with this as long as possible. Anyways, I don't talk about Legos very much on the channel, because they're not as prominent in my lifestyle as they used to be. However, I still enjoy seeing them around, things like that. They're neat. I still build some occasionally, just not as much as I used to. I don't particularly go out and buy them either, because it's just, not that it's too expensive. It is expensive. I'd probably still pay for it, though. I'd just rather spend the money on other things than spend the time on other things. But this is still something I kind of want to get back into at some point when I have some more time opened up in my life. I don't know when that'll be. Anyways, one of the LEGO themes that's always particularly interested me is Lego Technic, and we just got some new sets announced. And we don't actually know when these are going to be released. I'm assuming early 2019, but we don't actually know because they're not officially on Nintendo's shop page yet, but we do have them on Bricklink, so they're not leaked images. They're official and it's on Bricklink, so I most likely won't get in trouble for showing you guys this. The first new set is the Rescue Helicopter. As you can see, this looks pretty similar to the Rescue Helicopter we got a couple years ago. I can't remember exact dates at this moment, but that was a huge Power Functions version. This is a much scaled down version. The Power Functions version, I think, was around $150. This, I predict, will be somewhere around the $10 to $25 range, although we don't actually have prices that have been released yet. But as you can see, it follows that similar form factor of having a top propeller, although there's only 3 blades, and a back propeller. And it looks like, although it's not motorized, those propellers are actually chained together, so that's neat. One of my favorite parts of Lego Technic was always the little neat mechanisms that were included, and that's why I like these types of sets so much. We have a winch carrying a, in this case, a stretcher, it looks like. So you put the person on the stretcher to bring them up to the helicopter. Not really sure how safe that is, but I mean, it's a Lego set, so we'll let it roll. There's a knob on the bottom that might be used to rotate this propeller in the back propeller. I'm assuming that's what that's for. I'm not exactly sure. Up on the front in the cockpit, we have seats with joysticks to control the helicopter, though it doesn't appear that these joysticks are actually connected to anything else here in the helicopter, and we don't actually have any additional images, so we cannot see what our second model here is. It does say 2-in-1, so we know there's going to be a second model, but the only image we have now is the front of the box, so we can't actually see that. But here you can see kind of what that helicopter build looks like. And be sure to comment down below if you see anything else interesting or noteworthy in these images that I missed or didn't exactly cover. Like, for instance, what I noticed is now the winch is hooked up to a knob on the other side. So if you notice anything like that, just let me know in the comments, and that would be kind of neat. If it's cool enough, or if you list enough cool things, then probably I'll pin your comment. So there's some encouragement for you. As usual with every Technic or Lego Technic release period, and every Lego Technic at least early period, sometimes the later periods don't, but the early release periods always have 2 pullback models that are released in tandem. The first of which is the Police Pursuit here. So these never really have any features other than the actual pullback motion itself, where it has a pullback motor wired to the back wheels. You pull it back, it launches forward. You can make them do some cool stunts and things like that and race them. Overall has a very high playability factor, so younger kids, this will be really good for them. But for older kids like me, when I actually have 2 pullback models myself, it's kind of fun to screw around with them and make them do stunts, but overall you get bored of them pretty fast because they don't really have that much of any other features, or they don't actually really have any mechanical features other than that pullback motion. And they're very durable, whereas some of the other Technic models fall apart pretty easily. So again, pullback model, more for kids, and I think it's more aimed for that, to kind of get kids into Technic for when they get older. But older kids, this will be fun to play around with, but we don't really know, like, it's not going to be that great. This is kind of similar almost, except a different color scheme, to some kind of police ATV that I remember from back in the day. My memory's getting a bit foggy though, and I'm not too up to date on my Legos, so sorry if I sound stupid. Now your other 2019 pullback vehicle, because like I said, these are always released in tandem. This is the Getaway Truck, which is rather appropriate after having that police chaser. So this will be fun. It's nice that they had the two released in tandem actually match up this time, because sometimes they didn't exactly match up. So they match up this time. You can have the Getaway Racer getting away from the police car, or maybe the police car catching this one. Whatever you kind of want to do there. So I think this will be fun for kids to play with these two in tandem. And I don't really see much detailing on this, which is unfortunate. I mean, you have the license plates and stuff, but I don't see a steering wheel in there or anything. So that's kind of unfortunate. But this is the smaller of the two, from what I can tell. So it'll probably be the same price. They kind of all go for the same price. And you can't see yet because it'll be on the back, but you'll be able to combine the Getaway Truck with the police car, or whatever it was called, that I showed you a second ago, to create a third model by combining the two together, if you know what I'm saying. So most Technics are 2-in-1. The pullbacks are always combined to create a new one, just to get you to buy the other one if you've already bought one of them, which just adds to my point that the whole pullback thing is kind of gimmicky, and the whole Technic pullback line is kind of gimmicky. I mean, I never really found these to be all that interesting past the first couple that I had, because the pullback thing, while it's cool at first, kind of loses its allure pretty fast. But I mean, little kids will probably be able to have fun with these, so that's just what you got to keep in mind. And the last of the 2019 or early 2019 Technic models we have to look at here, this one's called the Power Boat. It also appears to be very small, but the other ones were small as well. You can see it kind of resembles a racing boat, is kind of what it's going for, like a very, very high-speed, high-tech racing boat. You can tell by the way it's shaped on the front, and I think the colors look really nice on this, really, excuse the word, spicy. They just look really cool, and I like the red and black aesthetic. That's what I just said, and I really don't mind the use of stickers. A lot of people don't like when they use stickers for design, but I really do not mind the use of stickers on really any Technic models. In fact, I think there's Technic models that have a lot of stickers, which is usually the small boats following this form factor. I actually like a whole lot. Now you can see it does have the piston cylinder, which means it'll have wheels on the bottom, and when you roll it, that'll pop the piston cylinder. And that's likely to be the only function on here from what I see, but that's alright. I remember when cylinders used to be strictly restricted to the humongous Technic sets, and it was really cool when they started putting engine cylinders into smaller Technic sets, so people who could not afford the bigger Technic sets still got to have the experience of using a piston. And this one looks like it's going to be relatively cheap, so that'll be good. And I don't really, again, see any other functions other than the piston. There might be a fan in the back or something like that, but there also is some nice detailing like the antenna, the seat, the steering wheel, there's a little vent on the front. All looks very, very nice. And those right there will most likely be your 4 early 2019 Technic sets. I remember in previous years they would release a lot more sets in a year than they are this year, but LEGO has been scaling back on a lot of things recently since the company itself is not doing all that well, which is kind of unfortunate to see. I would really hate LEGO to die out. Not saying they will, but it's declining, so that's quite unfortunate. Anyhow, the late 2018 Technic sets have already been announced at an earlier date, so you can go to Brickset and look at those. Or if enough people comment down below or like this video, one of those two, then I will go in and make a video about the late 2019 Technic sets. And let me know, again, if you saw any details in these that I didn't see, which one you're most excited for, and that kind of thing, kind of your general thoughts. I really like to read through your comments and see you guys' thoughts and all that really exciting, fun stuff. Again, I really appreciate the likes, and that's what tells me I should make more videos like this. But I do ask that if you dislike, you comment why you didn't like, because it's really annoying when people dislike and you don't really know why they didn't like it, if you know what I mean. And I mean, subscribe if you'd like to see more content in the future. That's a good idea as well. Just a generic outro like every YouTuber ever. Bye-bye.